Hello guys. So today I'm going to talk to you guys about, what's the best way to actually get clients as a coach or consultant. So this video might be long, it might be 20 minutes, maybe 30, I don't know. But basically what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to rank every single method of getting clients as a coach or consultant, and I'm going to give you like the objective view of like every single way, ranked against each other, based on my experience and based on like objectiveness. So, you know, I hope this video is going to be helpful because I'm going to go over the most common methods. So not all of them, I'm sure there's like hundreds, but like I'm going to go over the most common methods I usually see people see and methods that you're probably doing right now. So I'm going to look at them objectively, and if you have any like questions or if you have any like thoughts on how I ranked anything, just let me know in the comments and I'm going to get into it. So let's get started. All right, so I'm going to make myself smaller so I don't disturb anyone. And okay, cool. So let's start off with paid advertising. So paid advertising, I have these metrics over here. So I have speed of feedback, cost to get started, amount of sacrifice needed, scalability, limitations, difficulty, and return on investment. So I could have had more, but like I felt like these are like the most important ones because this is what usually people look at when they want to start something, and this is what came to my head because this is probably what I would look at if I wanted to start something that was gonna help me get to where I wanted to be. So I don't know if there's any other like metric you wanted me to add into this, just let me know in the comments and I'll actually get into that. But for now, we're just gonna have these. And then the first start is paid advertising. So speed of feedback is actually pretty fast. So you can spend money right away and you can get feedback right away, which is a pretty good thing. So that's why I say it's really fast. Cost to get started, however, I would say it's 1,000 plus. So this is coming from me who spent thousands in ads for clients. So I know how it is to actually get started, making money with ads, because what you find is that you're not going to get a lot of data back if you don't have a lot of money spent. So to us, the cost to get started might be like, you might start getting some results when you spend like like $500, but like it's not going to be enough data to be like, okay, this is exactly what's working, this is exactly what's not working. It's just not going to be possible. So you have to actually spend a lot more. So that's why I would say cost to get started is like 1,000 plus. Some people start with 2,000. I know some companies that do advertisements for coaches, they recommend they have a budget between like 1,000 to 3,000, so which is pretty high. And yeah, that's a lot of money just to get some feedback from the market, because that's basically what you're trying to get. You're trying to get data back from Facebook. So you're not necessarily always looking like, you're gonna double, you're gonna triple what the money that you put in. You just like, you're looking for feedback, and then you're gonna improve on that feedback. So it is a lot of money to get started, but like if you're at that point where you have a lot of money, then I think this could probably be like a good thing. So amount of sacrifice needed to get started is high. So what I mean by amount of sacrifice is basically the thing that you're not doing right now, the thing that you have to do right to get to this point that you're not doing right now, essentially. So obviously the things that you're not doing right now could be obviously advertising, and if you're going to do it by yourself, you obviously have to learn how to do ads, and then you have to start managing the ads. You have to start making sure that stuff are coming through. You have to make systems in the back end for the ads to work. So there is a lot of sacrifice that comes with getting started. If you don't want to do that, you just hire someone else, then you also have another sacrifice. You have to make sure that they're doing the thing. You have to actually go through these interviews, these calls with these people. They're trying to pitch you the service. So you have to make sure that, you go with the right person. So there is a lot of sacrifice. But after that, there isn't that much. Once you've hired someone by the start, there is a bit of sacrifice. It just depends on how you're going to do this. Scalability, I would say, is pretty low. People might say it's not, but like I would say it is, because like it's a system where you have to put more money in to get more money out, essentially. So if you get to a point that you found something profitable, the only way you can make it more profitable is if you spend more money, essentially. And I feel like that model for scaling something isn't really the best way, because there's a lot of better ways that you can scale something without putting more money into it. And in terms of scalability, another thing as well to keep in mind with ads, once you've got to the point that you've actually done a lot of money and you made a lot of money back, advertising to that same audience is probably not going to work anymore. You probably have to go to like a different audience, like a different state. Since most of the stuff we're doing is online, so I don't think you're really going to have an issue with that. But like, let's say that you're really location specific and you really want to work with certain types of people. Once you're done advertising to that certain group, then what's necessarily next? Because you can't create like a group of people, essentially. You can't like build something. You're just using something of what is like basically existing already. So I don't think it's very scalable. Some people might disagree, some people might not, but like from my experience running ads and from just objectiveness and like common sense, I don't think ads are like scalable up to a point. It all just depends on what you're offering, but like I would just say scalability when you're starting out is very low. Limitations, so what limits you from getting to, that space you want to be? Obviously the amount of money you have. So ad spend. Difficulty, I would say hard, because at the start you're never gonna hit the ground up and running with your first ad. You're always gonna have to like test and see different things that work. Even if like someone, like you work with someone that has worked with like a similar coach that you're gonna do, they're not gonna run the same ads that they did for that other coach, even though you guys are doing like the exact same thing. They're not gonna do that because they're gonna know for a fact that it's probably not gonna work, and it's probably gonna mess up what's gonna be working for the previous client. So they're just gonna tweak it slightly, and obviously they're gonna need to test. So that's what I'd say for this. Return on investment, I would say, is high to low with limits, because it all depends on what you're selling. If you're selling something that's low ticket, then your return on investment is going to be pretty. I would say you have like a good ceiling. If you're selling something that's high ticket, then you have like a really amazing ceiling, because let's say you spend like 1,000 on ads, you can get like 2 people that buy, and it's a 5K program, then you've pretty much like 9x your money. So like that's crazy. So it just all depends on what you're selling. So depending on what you're selling, that's gonna justify the amount of money that you can spend on ads, essentially. So I used to work with solar clients that one deal for them was worth like 8,000 or something, like 8,000 to 15,000. So they could justify spending like 3K every single month on ads, essentially. So that's basically, it just all depends on what you're selling, essentially. So let's move to the next one. So next one is virtual assistants and appointment setting. So I've actually seen a lot of companies that start to offer this now. So I'm gonna break this down. So speed of feedback between slow and fast, because a lot of appointment setting companies, they don't really promise what they can deliver. Some of them will say that, we can get you 20 meetings every single month, but then they only get you like 5 or something, and they'll use that, but like, we're just testing out because we don't have the messaging right, we don't have everything correct, all that kind of good stuff. So I would say between slow and fast, it all depends on like what you're working with. Another thing as well to recommend cost to get started. Obviously, you have to pay the virtual assistants and the appointment settings because they're human beings. So between that range is basically why I see these people costing. And if you're going through like a company that is going to help you get them, then it's obviously going to be higher as well too. Amount of sacrifice needed to get started. What you're doing that you don't currently do. What you need to do that you're not currently doing. I would say it's high because now you have a team now, so you have to start managing them. You have to start making sure that they can keep them accountable. You have to make sure they're hitting the daily KPIs. You also have to make sure that they understand what they're doing, they understand what they're saying, so they don't mess up and tarnish your whole reputation, essentially. So this is something to keep in mind. Scalability as well too. I would say medium, because so in order to scale this, you just have to get more people in there, and if you want to get more people, that's also more accounts. So people fail to realize this, but if you want to start scaling appointment setting by outbound DMs, then you have to literally just get more accounts, essentially. So, and you can't just keep creating like 50-20 different accounts. It's just impossible in a sense. So I would say scalability is low to medium. Actually, I wouldn't say medium, I would say low to medium in a sense. Limitations as well too. So what limits you from getting you to that point? I would say the amount of VAs you have, obviously people that are working on it, and also the amount of accounts that you have at your disposal. Difficulty, I would say, is hard, because even though most of them are going to be doing exactly what you need to be doing, most of the time you still have to train them. Most of the time you still have to hop on daily calls with them, weekly calls with them, just to make sure they know exactly what they're doing. And you can't just leave someone and expect them to be like, these guys are gonna know. They know exactly what they need to do. Like, you can't do that, especially when you're running a team. You can't just expect people to know exactly what they need to do, even though they should. You can't expect that. You always have to expect the least out of people. So always be able to have your meetings, have your appointments, have your weekly calls with them. So that's why I put this at like a hard difficulty. Another thing as well too is return on investment. I would say this is medium to high, because because you're not really paying them that much, and if they get you like a client that's worth like 2K to you, then you've basically offset like the whole monthly cost. So it all just depends on how like your whole offer and everything is structured. So I would say medium to high is like the good base point for this. All right, so we have 3 more. So, but like, if you guys are enjoying this video, like, I really, really, really would appreciate like a subscribe, or like just liking the video, because like it means a lot to me that if you guys are really enjoying this video. So it means a lot. And I'm also gonna go over the rest of the stuff. So let's get to that next one. So next one is word of mouth and referrals. So I would say the speed of feedback between this is slow and fast. because speed feedback with referrals is like, if you don't have clients already, then it's not gonna be that much. But if you have clients already and you're just like, hey, help me get this referral, then they still have to talk to them, you still have to like do all that type of stuff. So but like some guy might just be like, hey, have this guy that wants to work with you right away, and then boom, you got a client just like that. So speed feedback is between slow and fast. It just depends. Cost to get started, I would say it's 0 with asterisks. Reason why I say 0 with asterisks is because sorry about that. Let's say you get like a client for like, and it costs you like $500 to acquire that client when you ads essentially. So let's say that you get that client and then they actually get you another client as well to via referral. So most people say, oh, it didn't cost me anything to get a client, but actually it still costs you like $500 to get both of those clients, because like if you didn't get that first client, you wouldn't have got that second client. So you still spent money to get a client essentially. So people saying that, oh, I expect it cost me nothing to get referrals or not anything like that, it makes no sense, because like if you spent money to get a client, then you wouldn't have had that referral if you didn't spend money. So that's just how I see it essentially. So cost to get started is always 0 with asterisks. That's why I put it like that. So amount of sacrifice needed to get started, I would say medium to low, because in terms of sacrifice, you're not really doing that much. You're just asking people to like give you a referral in a sense. Another thing that you might have to do is that you might have to like talk to the referral or something like that. You might have to like keep people accountable with like, hey, helping me post this on your page so we can get more people. You might have to keep people accountable, but most of the time it's going to be low sacrifice. You're not really going to be doing much. So in terms of scalability, I also say it's low, because if you want to get more referrals, you have to get more clients that are like pushing out your content to more people essentially. And I would say scalability is pretty low, because you can't rely on your business to just work on referrals alone. That no one does that, because that's not sustainable. Limitations, amount of referrals, obviously. Difficulty, medium to low. I'll just say low, because you're not really doing much. You're just asking people to repost your stuff, so and give you referrals, so that's a good thing. Return on investment high, because like I said before, you're getting like 2 to 3 to almost 5, like you can get like up to 5 referrals for the price of like one client. So return on investment is ridiculously high. So that's how I would see word of mouth and referrals. So good way to get clients. Another thing as well too is outbound prospecting and email outreach. So this is basically like manual DM, manual emails, all that good stuff, cold calling, anything like that. I would say speed of feedback is between slow to fast. Depends on what you're doing. If you're doing cold calling, then your feedback is extremely fast. If you're doing emails and DMs, then feedback might be slow. Sometimes it might be medium. It all depends. Cost to get started, 500 to 1,000, because obviously you have to pay for software, you have to pay for like tracking, you also have to pay for like email software as well too. And if you're hiring someone as well to do this for you, like maybe a virtual assistant to do outbound, you also have to pay them. So it's not like free. You could say like it costs you like nothing to get started, but you're going to get to that point that you're doing so much that you're just not going to be able to keep track. So you're going to have to spend some money on some software at either point. Amount of sacrifice needed to get started, I would say is medium, because if you're doing it by yourself, then it's ridiculously high, because obviously you're messaging people by yourself. So, but like if you're hiring other people, or if you have like some system where it's kind of like automated, then sacrifice is still medium, but you're still talking to people. So I'll say high to medium, especially if you're doing it by yourself, because that's a lot of work. Scalability, I would say low to medium, because most of these systems you can kind of automate them, so you can actually get them to like a spot where they can like scale without your effort. And most of the time you might need some more accounts, you might need some more softwares, you might need some more emails. So scalability is just low to medium. It just depends on how much money and time you have at your disposal. Limitations, email systems, and obviously yourself if you're doing it by yourself, because we do have limits sometimes. Difficulty, medium, because most of the time you kind of just copy paste in the script. You're just starting conversations, you're not really doing much. You just kind of like starting conversations essentially. That's basically what outbound prospecting really is. And return on investment is medium to high, because let's say like you did like 100 DMs and you got like 10 people that responded and actually 2 people that booked a call with you. You book one person and that kind of just offsets all the work that you've done for the day. And you book one person that's like 5k, then it's pretty good, man. So I would say it has a really high return on investment, medium to high essentially. All depends. And now it's time for the last one, which I think is arguably probably like the best one, and what is the one that, and it should be the one that most coaches and other people are doing, but most of the time I always see people dabbling with other methods, even though they shouldn't be at the start. But this is basically the one that I did that took me from 0 to 12.8k followers, and this is the one I want to share with you guys. So give me 1 second. Stopped, but we're back, and now this is the last one. So boom, building an audience and organic marketing, guys. So let's break this down, why this is probably the best method as a coach or consultant. So first of all, speedy feedback, fast and in between. Some people might tell you it's going to take you long to build an organic audience. I'll tell you it's not. It doesn't take you long at all to start seeing money with an organic audience, especially if you have like a good content strategy and you're consistent. You can see results in literally like a month, guys. Like it's not hard to build something. Cost to get started is generally zero. Like maybe you have to pay for like your video editing software. I mean, that's about it. But you're not really paying. You don't have to pay to post videos essentially. So I think it should be good on the cost to get started part. So amount of sacrifice needed to get started, I would say almost no sacrifice, because the thing about this is that if you're a coach or consultant, then you're most likely already creating content anyways. So it's just that, you know, you're doing it in a different way in order to grow essentially. So I would say there's almost no sacrifice. But if you're not creating content as a coach or consultant, and I don't know why you're not creating any content, that makes no sense. But if you're in that very niche group of people, then there is some sacrifice. You have to start creating videos now, which you should be doing already. So that's amount of sacrifice needed. Scalability, I would say almost infinite, because I don't think there's a platform that kind of limits the amount of followers you can have. You know, it's there's basically no limitation when it comes to like organic marketing, because you can just get followers, you can just get followers and followers. Like no one is really stopping you on where you can grow. So I would say like the growth is almost infinite. Limitations, I would say there's none in a sense, because like I said before, like nothing is really stopping you from getting to, you know, getting like 100,000 views, getting 500,000 views on a video. Like nothing is really stopping you. And I'm saying this because like I actually have gone that type of videos before. So legit, nothing is really stopping you from getting to that point, because the only thing that's stopping you is probably like, you know, your the amount of time you have, and like the amount of hours you have in a day in order to push that amount of volume. And that makes a lot of sense. So it always depends on like your limitations, but like for the most part, I don't think there's any limitations, especially if you work with someone like us, where we actually help you do all the stuff done for you completely, or making it so that you just have to record the videos. So I would say that's actually a very good thing to have in place. Another thing as well too, difficulty. I would say it's very easy to get started, because everyone posts stuff every single day. Like you just have to click a couple buttons. So I don't think it's very hard. Especially I would say like the only exception is, you know, if you haven't spoken into a camera before, then it might be difficult. But like I said before, if you're not making content, then I don't know why you're watching this video in the first place, because you have to be making content, guys. Like you have to put your face in front of the camera. Like there's no other way. And then the last part is the return on investment. I would say very high with no limits, guys. Like the amount of money you could probably make from like one video just blowing up, like think about this, guys. Like a video literally costs you nothing to make. Like it probably costs you like the editing time, like your time and maybe the software you use to edit. But then you post that video and it gets like 100,000 views, and then 100 people actually go through your service, and let's say that your service is actually like 5k. That's 50k that you've made right there from that one video that took you maybe like 2 hours to edit essentially. So the potential you can have with organic stuff is just crazy, guys. And keep in mind, people also fail to forget this as well too, is because like you get paid to make content essentially. Like YouTube gives you money to make content, so it's like a spot that you're getting paid to market essentially, and it's ridiculous in a sense, guys. Like Alex Amosi spends like $70,000 per month on content, and he's getting some money back for making content as well too. So he's probably offsetting all the money he's spending on content with the, you know, with the money he gets from like ads and stuff like that, and like creative programs, all that good stuff. So when people say like, you know, there's a lot of limits and it takes too long, you know, but guys, you're building something that, you know, is gonna basically pay for most of the things that you're doing right now, most of your expenses, and it doesn't cost you anything to get started. So that's just my 2 cents. Obviously, all this type of stuff, it does take time and it does take effort, especially if you don't know where to start. That's where basically we come in. So we actually help coaches and consultants grow their audiences by 100% every 90 days. And we have a lot of systems that come into place in order to get you to where you want to be very quickly. We have systems in place for like audience monetization, growing your audiences, editing videos, content creation, all that good stuff, content pillars. We have a lot of processes, and we actually help you do all these things in order to get you to where you want to be with organic marketing. So objectively, if you're just looking at this from like an objective standpoint, like no bias, I know for a fact you've already realized that building an audience and organic marketing is probably the best way you can get started, especially with coaching and consulting in terms of outreach. Then if you want to get started on that, underneath this video there's going to be a link to actually book a call with me, and we're actually going to walk you through exactly how we would do this specifically for your brand, guys. So this video was long. I did predict 20 minutes at the start, so it actually was 20 minutes. So I hope you found this super helpful, because I know it took me a lot of time to put this all together, but I hope you guys found this helpful, and hopefully opens your eyes to what is actually possible with organic content, because like the amount of stuff you can do is crazy, guys. So if you want to get started with organic content, underneath this video is going to be a link to book a video with me, and then we can actually get started on all this good stuff. Apart from that, that's basically it, guys. So we'll see you in the next one, and we can have some good chats there. I don't know how to end the videos, guys, so bear with me. See ya.